For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast with 40 years of playing PlayStation and 10 plus years in that games media combined. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, come and check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturist, where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening to us on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculture.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Now, I've come to learn in the pre-show that both you and I have had a nappy Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Why have you had a nappy Sunday? And that's nap as in have a sleep, not as in we are so hungover that we just didn't want to get up to do wheeze and poos, so we put nappies on. No, we had sleeps.
I forgot to silence my phone.
Oh, rookie error. Wait, the cookie one.
Why have I had a nappy day? So on Saturday, so yesterday at time of recording, my wife has organised she wants a new dining room table for when we move house.
Fantastic.
So the one that we've got is dark wood. We're moving into a house with light tones and colours, so it's not going to fit. So she's like, I want to get a new dining room table. I'm like, cool, no worries. She found one. The catch is it also came with a coffee table and a side table as part of the package.
Okay.
So I went and picked it up Saturday afternoon.
Well, doesn't your current dining table come with a side table that is heavy as fuck?
No.
I thought it did.
Still not just the dining room table and the 6 chairs. So we've got the same thing. We've got another 6-seater dining table, and we now have a new coffee table. So we're using that coffee table as a TV unit, and we've tossed out the old ugly ass thing that we were using. So we've got a nice slimline.
Oh,
TV
this is in the lounge.
Now. Yeah, this is in the lounge.
Nice, very nice.
And then we've just got a side table that is currently sitting in the middle of the room with a bunch of crap on it. Because I don't have a place for it yet.
Well, because I remember when I was living with you for that window of time, I remember your big dining table, and then you had like a sideboard that was just full of board games and shit, and it looked super fucking heavy.
Oh, I sold that.
Thank Christ!
About 8-9 months ago.
Oh, bad. Yeah.
So I'm now trying to sell the old coffee table and the old dining room table, which leads me to today's shitstorm of the monitor's not in here. Yes, it is.
Oh, thanks,
which leads me to today's shitstorm of issues. So I took some photos of the old dining room table, and posted up on Facebook Marketplace, and
did you ask for dollary dues or
$300 dues is what I put on.
Nice. That could really go great towards PSVR.
Gonna pay for the dining room table that we just bought.
Also, that's true.
But within 10 minutes, get a hit. Hey, is this still available? Yes, it was listed 10 minutes ago. He's like, cool, I want to buy it. Okay. No haggling, just straight up, I want to buy it. I'm like, okay, cool, no worries. It's like, you got pay ID. I'm like, oh yeah, I got pay ID. Because I use pay ID through my internet banking. So I sent him my email address because how my pay ID is set up. And he's like, yeah, no, we've run into a problem. I'm paying from a business account. You don't have a business account. Therefore, there's a limit. So I have to pay an extra $500 to upgrade your account, but I need you to refund me that extra $500.
No.
Like, no. I'm like, just cancel the thing and just get cash out. And we'll just do cash. He's like, no. I can't do cash. My friend's gonna come pick it up. I'm like, well, pay ID him and he can get cash out. He's like, no, just I've already sent the money. You've got an email, and I got an email from PayID, and PayID don't never email you directly. It's always your bank that emails you about a PayID transaction. I'm like, I'm not sending you $500, dude. Like, it's not going to happen. So he calls me. I answer the phone because, like, it's Facebook Messenger. Like, fuck it, I'll answer it. Now, the woman's name who wanted to buy this table is Anita, and I'm speaking to a man on the phone.
Named Anita?
Okay? Yeah, he's like, that's my business name. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, I've sent you my bank details so you can transfer me the $500 so you can release the funds. I'm like, cool. You're aware that the bank details you sent me are different to the ones that PayID want me to send money to, though, right? And he's like, no, they're not. I'm like, they are. And I took a screenshot of the email, and I took a screenshot of what he just sent me. He's like, no, they're the same. I'm like,
you can read, right, you fuckhead?
And then he's like, I'm going to report you. I'm like, report me. Do it. I don't care. Like, see what happens. And then I get another email from clearly a fake email address saying, warning, 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 we've contacted the FBI. I'm like, okay.
I'm in Australia, dickhead. What's the FBI going to do?
So I still have a table available.
So anyone watching the show wants a coffee table and a dining table.
And then, like, out of curiosity, Ali did some Googling. She's like, oh, there's this. So I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to him. Like, you may want to change your script up, dude, because, like, this is word for word literally what all the things are using. And then he blocked me. And
yes. What a recovery.
I'm partially shattered because I really wanted that $300.
Well, shout out for, fighting the dude in his own bullshit. Like,
yeah.
I wonder how many people...
He's like, I've now lost $800. I'm like, no, you haven't. You haven't transferred any money, dude. Like,
no, you haven't.
Who falls for this?
Well, see, that's the fun part, because it wouldn't be me, because I always just throw my shit on Marketplace for free. I'm like, just get rid of it. I don't fucking give a shit.
So, yeah.
Well, that is.
And then after that, I just had a nap because I was tired from yesterday still.
And you were tired from all the...
After moving the dining room table, the coffee table, and everything.
From Max Cooper's Scam Stopper, you got very tired, need a snooze.
Yeah. But on the positive side, I'm going to get a huge amount of sleep this week because my kid starts kinder tomorrow.
Oh, man, you are going to be a different person.
The light has reached the end of the tunnel. I have reached the light at said end of tunnel. It's a beautiful moment. So I'll do school drop off or kinder drop off tomorrow morning with the wife, and then fall asleep in the car. That's the plan.
Love it.
So yeah, we spent the afternoon doing like label making everything, sticking labels on everything, and all the spare clothes and all the other crap that they have to go to school with. So
very exciting.
Yeah, good times. Extra 2.5 hours sleep a day. I won't know myself.
Oh man, you're gonna be like not looking disheveled. You'll be glowing. You'll be all these different things.
I realize I'll essentially get an extra, what equivalent to me at the moment is 2 days of sleep a week.
It could be the amount of sleep you average an evening.
Yeah,
and then you add those.
I'll essentially get an extra 2 nights of sleep every week.
Wow, that's effing huge, actually.
Yeah,
scary, but
huge. A huge difference. So,
damn.
Yeah, that's good. That's gonna be so good. I'm so excited.
I cannot. Shit. Yes.
How's your weekend been? Why did you nap today?
Oh, well.
Because you're a lazy fucker.
Mostly, yeah. No, so my weekend was a bit more... no furniture was involved. So
really? You went to a wrestling show. How was no furniture involved? That was bullshit. Get your money back.
Yeah, so as you said, we went up to Horsham, which is a country town here in Victoria. It's just shy of 3.5 hours away from Geelong. So it's a brand new company. Owned by a couple of friends of mine, and this is like their first ever big gig. So as I had worked with these people before, and I know them personally, and like they are good kids, like really good kids. So for me, it's I'm gonna go to the show. I'll pay for tickets. I'll drive on up. I'll help if they need, but it was just want to support them because they've been so good to me in the past. Like there were shows where I was head of ring crew or whatever for Renegades or whatever, and I was like, hey, I had these people working under me, and everything that I needed, they had no question, no issue, they obeyed. The amount of people that come into a wrestling space to work, like say ring crew, that are also workers, also wrestlers, I should say, that don't pull their weight is astounding. Like it's so incredibly frequent, and it's very, very frustrating. So to have people come in and willing to do the work, grind, and like they're brilliant. No, I'm more than happy to drive up. So we drove up to Horsham, and the drive was fine, apart from being super effing long. That part sucked. That part sucked real hard. But on the drive up, so I drove up with my partner, Phoebe, her and I, and we stopped at somewhere. I forget where it was. Had breakfast with a friend of hers. That was great. And then we drove the rest. It was lovely. So we're there all day. So we got up about 6:30ish, left about 7. By the time we got there, it was about just before midday. Just cool. Did whatever. Show wasn't until like 6:30, so which was cool. Help set up, do what I got to do, that sort of stuff. Show was great. It was really kind of nice, good energy, good comedy matches, some good, more harder matches. No hardcore or anything, no death match, which is totally different to what I normally do, but it was very cool. And then by the time we got back to Geelong, or back to my house at least, about 3 o'clock. So that was a bit brutal. And then slept for a couple hours, woke up. Okay, so today was the WWE Royal Rumble, and as I normally do, I have friends over. Invited you, Max. He didn't come once again.
I was asleep on the couch, getting scammed.
Yeah, I was busy getting scammed, so I couldn't come around today. But yeah, so that, and we were up this morning because I think if anyone follows me on Twitter, you would have seen that for Christmas, Phoebe purchased me the God of War cookbook that was available at EB Games. So it's essentially it's a standard cookbook, but a lot of the meals are designed in things to do with the Nine Realms. Inspired by the Nine Realms, right? So in the past, we made some sweet fucking... I don't know, I've made it, my brain is so dumb right now, I can't think of what we've made. But one of the recipes was sausage rolls. I was like, oh, fucking sausage rolls on Rumble Day? That is a killer combo. So we got up this morning, we made a metric fuck ton of sausage rolls, and they were awesome. I say we made them. I didn't do shit. I purchased everything, put a couple things in a bowl, and made sure they didn't burn. That is it. Where Phoebe did all the work, all of it. Pretty much, it was as insane, and they tasted amazing. They didn't it was using the Spartan spice mix, which was tons of fun. Yeah, I absolutely I've been really enjoying doing the cook. So I've never been a cook, just ever. It's just not a thing for me. I always kind of eat for function, but never really for like the fun of cooking or the flavor experience. Like, except for when, we go out for dinner occasionally, like, as in me and, like, Max, you and I have gone to, like, Pistol Pete's and stuff, but even then, that's very kind of not...
We're not going out for the food, we're going out for the...
Yeah, there's not this extravagant, dining experience. It's, like, kind of garbage food that we just want to eat together. And I don't go out for dinner often, and when I do, I tend to pick, like, the standard stuff anyway, so... For me, just eating is different. But it's been really kind of fun sort of cooking with a kind of purpose. Like, I think I talked about maybe the last week before where I spent like $80 just in spices alone. Or something for like the year that I've lived in this house, never have I used spices until now. And I still don't use them outside of the recipes. But I know it's been a lot of fun. It's been very, very cool. So with Phoebe, like one of her big passions is cooking, and I like eating, and I like PlayStation. So it's been a really good combination to sort of to have it come together and make cool stuff. And from, as you can see in the chat there, Max, and the Mullet Show, who did attend the Rumble Roo today, he was not being scammed on the couch. Was a big fan.
He may have been. I hear the Rumble Roo wasn't great.
The Rumble Roo was fine.
He just got scammed in a different way.
Yeah. It could have been better, but there was some cool stuff, but it could have been noticeably better. But yeah, so the understanding is the search roles are pretty sweet. So that was good. Which is great. But speaking of Phoebe though, so she's never been a gamer, like ever, right? Now you are about to assist in the changing of her lifestyle. You are providing her, for dollars, of course, PS4.
Yeah.
Visit.
I will bring it over at some point this week.
Yeah.
I still haven't got it my Chromecast, which is the main reason why I haven't done it.
Yeah, that's fine. And so one of the things I was sort of thinking, and I guess this is something we could have a bit of fun with the chat and, you know, those in the comments, etc. As someone that's never really played games before, if kind of ever, she has full access to the PS4 library. What are some things you should check out? Now, obviously on that list is The Last of Us. You know, she's been watching it alongside me. She's keen to give that a whirl. But, you know, we might even have to teach you how to use dual analog sticks.
Oh, well, clearly she has to play Dark Souls.
Yeah, Dark Souls is not the answer.
Dark Souls is always the Bloodborne.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I can work with Bloodborne. So
yeah, no, give her all that puzzly platformy crap. Give her Sackboy,
puzzly crap. Yeah, Crash Bandicoot would be a good one. MGB in the chat suggests Sackboy. I think Sackboy would be good. Now she does love Sackboy.
Knack in the power of Juju.
Yeah. She does love Sackboy. So I found a Sackboy figure. Shut up. On Facebook Marketplace, and it was like it was like in a Kratos costume. And she went and bought it for me as a gift. She's like, no, I kind of like this better, so I'm just going to keep it. I'm like, okay. Reverend Puck says Journey. Journey would be a good one as well. Ratchet and Clank, the 2016 Ratchet and Clank, says Buddy. The Ratchet and Clank would be a ripper choice, especially, you know, the beginnings of some dual stick stuff. God of War 2018 would be a must. Sackboy is not a name of my front area, the mullet asks, and it is not. It is that game.
Yeah. You should clearly just get
Little
Big
Big
Dreams.
Little Big Planet.
Anything.
Yeah, but Dreams is poo hole, so not happening.
How dare you? How dare you, good sir?
The Witness, if she likes... Yeah, Witness. So my son's been playing The Witness lately, actually. He gave me a video call the other day, and he's like, I'm playing this puzzle game. And, like, it took him a while, and he had his first ever rage quit. But, yeah, he's been playing The Witness, which is absolutely crazy.
Persona 5.
Persona 5 is a good choice. Yeah, it is a very good choice. But... even though I poop on it, it is a very good pick. But yeah, my son's been playing The Witness of all fucking games, and he's been enjoying that too. But yeah, that's I think that's something should be a bit of fun to think about. What kind of games we'll need to check out? I haven't looked at my shelf over there, so if there's anything that jumps out.
That was the other thing that I forgot to do yesterday.
What's that?
Your boy forgot to cancel his fucking PlayStation Plus Deluxe subscription.
Oh,
so I got charged
no.
$160 this morning.
Oh, I got to August. That actually might be the answer. That PS Plus middle tier. Because the games catalog thing, so you get all those PS4 games. That might be the best answer. The way she can play whatever the fuck she likes. But speaking of being able to play whatever the fuck we like, we've been playing some games.
Well, I've been playing a game. So thank you to the team over at Bandai Namco Australia. I have been playing Forspoken.
Yeah. So Forspoken has been receiving a little bit of controversy since its release. It's very average according to the scores. And one of the biggest critiques out of it is, at least from the demo, was a really bad representation of the game. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And the dialogue and writing is a bit poo.
Yeah,
so, Max, set up the game. What is it? And then we'll go from there.
Okay, so what is it? Forspoken is Square Enix's newest open world RPG game. It's by the team who did Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, Luminous.
Luminous Productions. This is their second title. So go them.
Woo.
And the story is basically you are Frey. You're this girl from this orphan from New York
Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen, who essentially gets transported to the wonderful world of Athia, and basically you go on you discover a magical cuff or bracelet or van brace, depending on who you're talking to within the world, and you go on an adventure together to solve the mysteries of why Athia is the way that it is. Now, unfortunately, the front 2/3 of the game, story-wise, absolute garbage. Not compelling in any way, shape, or form. There is no reason for the protagonist to want to be where she is, which is why she's so anxious. She's like, I don't give a fuck about any of you people. I don't give a fuck about anything here. This is not my world. This is not my fight. It's not my shit. I just want to go home. She's a whiny little bitch for the majority of the game. And then the last, like the finale, the final third of the game, it's like, oh, this is good. Why wasn't it this the whole way through?
Yeah. Without any spoilers, why does it transition? Like, do we finally have investment in her as a character?
She herself has investment in we find investment in the world for her. Okay. And that, gives her a reason to be where she is, which is awesome. It's a shame that it didn't come sooner in the game. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the first 2/3 of the game, just from a story point of view, is a bit of a slog. Thankfully, the moment-to-moment gameplay, that parkour and magic combat system, really good. Difficult, but really good. Once you get the hang of it, once you get into the flow and the rhythm of what you're doing, it becomes fantastic. Now, you will find your favorite spells that you kind of just constantly go to. So, to those who played the demo or who didn't, essentially there is combat magic and support magic. So everything on the right-hand side of the tree is generally your combat magic, and everything on the left-hand side of the skill tree is your support magic. The support magic still does damage, but it's more of a...
like an AoE control-y sort of thing.
Yeah, essentially it'll do something other than just damage. So whether it be like a damage over time, an AoE like you suggested, could be a shield, stuff like that. And essentially, you're going through gaining more powers and all that stuff. Now, it does have all those open world tropes of there's shit everywhere. It's go over here and scout the area and we'll give you a cape. Go over there and do the labyrinth puzzle and we'll give you a necklace. Go and beat that enemy over there and we'll teach you how to paint your nails a certain way so you get extra bonuses. Now, that's cool. I did a lot of the sidey stuff that was
detours,
out in the open world. The detours are essentially side quests, which I thought was cool because you're detouring from the main quest. You're taking a detour out of what you're supposed to be doing to do something else, which I thought was cool. The game is very meta like that. A lot of the dialogue is very meta as well, to the point where it's very on the nose a lot of the time. Which I can understand why a lot of people have a problem with what they're referring to as the cringe-worthy dialogue, because some of the dialogue's not great. Like, it really isn't. But again, once you get to that finale, the game kind of it goes very exposition-heavy for a while. You don't do much. You kind of just walk from point to point. You get all this information dumped at you, and then you're like, oh, that's cool. And then it's literally go from there. And it's fantastic. What was a really rough takeoff, they stuck the landing in my opinion.
Okay.
Like it is well worth the slog to get to where it's going. It's just a really rough, turbulent ride on the way through. But like I said, that moment-to-moment gameplay is fun enough that it kept me wanting to play the game. Now, granted, I didn't do every side quest. My trophy collection's at like 40% because I haven't collected all the collectibles or done any of that. There's 2 endings. My first ending run time was about 8.5 hours. For the second ending was about 10.5 hours. The game's not super long. I played it on just the standard normal difficulty. At no point did I find that I was under-leveled or over-geared. Each boss fight was challenging, but not so challenging that it was like smashing my head into a wall and not getting anywhere. The final boss fight for this game is one of the most fun I've had since playing Elden Ring. It was such an awesome interactive fight with so much different stuff going on. It was just it was awesome. Now the game doesn't look as great as it did when they showed it off a couple of years ago. At like not even close. But it doesn't look horrible. Some of the character models look absolutely garbage, but the vistas themselves, when you're in that open world, they're not horrible. Like, some of the character models are definitely questionable. Unfortunately, Frey as the protagonist has a horrible character model.
Yeah, but
the actress that they modeled her off, she looks remotely similar, but there's a moment, there's a cutscene near the end of the game where the character model looks immaculate.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look that way anywhere else in the game, unfortunately. Now I understand that. I don't know if they're going for that she's disheveled look, because she's obviously been thrown into a new world and all that stuff, because that's how it looks throughout a lot of the game. But I don't know if it's come across as intentional or if it's just a bad character model. So, yeah. But I personally had a lot of fun with the game, but a lot of my fun was back-ended at the back end of the story, when it was kind of getting to that resolution and wrapping everything up, and it actually gave us a reason to be where we were and to care about Aethir and the people in it and Frey herself.
Well, I myself have only put about 3 hours into it at the moment. So with my busy ass weekend, I didn't get to jump into it like I intended. But I guess you might be able to fill in some of the things that some of the concerns for me. So I agree with you that once you start playing the game is where it gets a ton of fun. So one of the first things you do, to demonstrate the combat, you fight this dragon very early on in the game, like half an hour in, not even. And that is stacks of fun. Really, really good fun. As you sort of start to, use your cuff to sort of, essentially, those early spells are really kind of like shotgun versus a assault rifle. It's like, it's different kind of bursts. And then by using it, how to dodge and jump and then use your support. It's tons of fun fighting that dragon. I really, really enjoyed it. And then once the open world opens up and you start traversing, you can get a good flow and momentum in that parkour, as you run and just leap on objects, and as you upgrade it, you can jump higher and get to places much easier. Really enjoy that. That's really cool. One of the problems that I think, and that seems to be a very common consensus, is that the demo really fucking blows, because it just throws you in somewhere, and it does show you the complete swath. That's the word I'm looking for. The spectrum of what you can do in the game.
Yeah.
But without any of that setup to provide how it works, why, or it just doesn't land.
So for context, the demo drops you into the third part of the game, into the third map area.
Yeah.
So it's after you've unlocked the second elemental skill tree. So you go through so many steps to earn that it teaches you along the way, and it's dropped you in with everything, and you have no idea how to use it.
Yeah.
The demo was a really poor example of what this game was, purely because they're like, here's almost everything. We're not going to show you how to do it. We're going to show you how anything works. Just go and do it yourself.
Yeah.
And that, I think, was a disservice to this game.
Most definitely, because
it does such a good job of onboarding you to begin with, whereas the demo doesn't.
Especially one of the things I really just quite heavily dislike is the UI in the menus. I think it's ugly. It's hideous. It's doing this weird fisheye lens look. It's like an old CRT TV, but crapper. And when in the demo, it does that, and you're seeing the complete wide range of skill tree and upgrades, and it just looks, it's ugly, and then there's a lot. So it's really like overwhelming, going, this is gross, I can't work with this. But as you play and you start to expand it bit by bit, even the visual aesthetics are still not that endearing. You know where you're going, you can read what it is, and it doesn't feel so overwhelming in a negative way, which is great. The consensus around the story being bad at least from my experience so far, is absolutely true. It is written incredibly poorly so far. It reads to me like, now we know who wrote this game. It was with Gary Whitta and Amy Hennig, right? So like at least I know Hennig had some involvement in it, but
that's it.
The other guy whose name I just said and I forgot it. What's his name?
Gary
Whitta. Like I know he has did a big hunk of this writing, and I like he's great. He's we've seen other work that he's done before, but so the problem that I have with this, it feels like someone trying to write a teenager, let alone a female teenager, and have no idea how. I would like your point of meta, like the level, like it's meta, self-referential meta to a point that it's just bad. Like it's. We saw it in the trailers, like don't move that with my freaking mind. I mean, it's like. It is, yeah. Like it's that Marvel dialogue to its worst extent. It's that what was I talking about the other day? I think it was something else. Oh, when we were talking about The Last of Us, in episode 1 or 2, the power of silence, right? There moments where something can sit, or when words don't need to be used, is fine. Like it actually makes tension. It makes what you've already said more impactful. It makes the next thing you say more impactful if you choose to be that way. Where in this game, no one shuts the fuck up. She's always talking. The cuff's always talking, and everyone has to be the wittiest person in the room. Even the fucking cuff. And an inanimate object has to be the wittiest person in the room. And it feels like I'm watching like Rick and Morty. Right, where everyone's just going. There's no time to sit down. Like I was playing High on Life over the Christmas break, and it's that same energy. I'm like, what? It's just not good. And so Solitaire in the chat, how I am, friend, has jumped in and goes, I honestly thought the story complaint were just the misogynist screaming again. But then playing the game, I was like, ooh, maybe they're right. There is nothing, like, in terms of my criticism towards the game, in terms of these things, nothing to do with either the gender or the ethnicity of the individual. Mm. Because at no point have I mentioned any concerns around their gender or around their nationality. I highlighted gender because I believe the writers misunderstood how a female speaks. Mm. And that's the asterisk. So it's not because she's a female and, because it's kind of the challenge that like I have with, I think a lot of movies these days or even a lot of things is for Frey as a character, like I love non-endearing characters, right? One of my favorite shows of all time is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They are dumpster people. You are not supposed to like them. But what I'm seeing right now is, people that write non-endearing characters, and that's it. Like, there's no extra. Like I'm playing this game and like her, like just what's the word I'm looking for? Her cynicism, pessimism, whichever, is always back end, with that smart ass responses, like that whole nihilist attitude. It doesn't land for me because it's just nothing, and everything means nothing, and who fucking cares? And like, well, then why are you doing anything? What's the compelling part of your character? If you go, I don't give a fuck, well, I'm here, whatever you move. Like, well,
unfortunately, you don't know that until the end of the game.
Exactly, and like, granted,
it back-ended it so hard that it's rough.
And to me, it's a common writing issue that's going on, not just in games, but in a lot of media. And I understand, like, as we head into sort of, I love Community. Community is built entirely on self-referencing and being self-aware enough to know what you're in, mixed with meta-commentary and meta-analysis, right? And Community does it better than almost anything else. And anyone that tries to do it doesn't land, right? And I would agree with that here. And the performances, I believe they are average because they are working with average material. You know, it's one of those things everyone's like, oh, you know, there are such things as bad actors, 100%. Bad actors can be bad actors. But bad writing, even with exceptional actors, will deliver subpar performances. And I believe that's what we're seeing here. That's my honest thought on that. And I hope, because I remember saying to you, like, I hope that there is a reason why she is like this. Now, granted, the game sets up that she sort of lives by herself in this little shanty fucking burnt down house. She's done, you know, lives a life of crime. You know, she was
abandoned as a child and all that stuff.
Like, she had a very unfortunate upbringing.
She's named after the tunnel that she was found in.
Yeah. And like, I get that. And like, that's a good beginning of an endearing character. And I understand why her attitude would be fuck the world, right? And why everything means nothing, because you don't have anything. So but like, feel that more, add a bit to that more, add some layer to her. Because right now she feels surface level and one note. And my biggest challenge, and I guess it's kind of because one of the big selling points of this game, or one of their dot points, was it's a JRPG with Western sensibilities. That was kind of what they were trying to say. And I guess in true JRPG fashion, like, the things, it doesn't get good until like 2/3 of the way in. I feel that's really poor design. And Luminous, because Final Fantasy 15 was apparently the same boat, right? It doesn't get good until like chapter 7 or some bullshit. And if this is the second thing that Luminous Productions has ever done, I'd be surprised if we don't see Luminous much more. Like, you know, in terms of, because the Luminous engine, which they use, there are moments, like you said, where the game looks fantastic. The world looks cool. For me, I don't know what mode you're playing on, but for me, Frey looks fine. Like in cutscenes, she looks great.
So I'm playing performance with 120 hertz turned on.
Yeah, I'm not,
because when I was playing on fidelity or pretty mode or whatever, when turning the camera, it fucking noticeably staggered along. I'm like, I'm not fucking putting up with that shit. So I turned it on. I turned it to performance. Yeah,
I'm doing performance with 60 though, not 120, because I noticed quite a substantial downgrade in resolution. So I kept it at 60, and for me, it's perfectly fine. So she looks great sometimes, you know, but she's probably the best looking out of all of them. There's a woman that you see very early on when you go into Aethia, and she's like the woman that helps you out. She looks like shit. She looks like a PS3 level like character model. It's soft. There's no features. Almost there's no shadows on her face. She looks horrendous, and you spend a lot of time with this character. She looks great. Like absolute shit compared to Frey looks great. Then you find a young girl. The character model of that young girl, awesome. She looks so good. They look like part of each other, right? The judge at the start of the game looks like poo. All the gang kids that try to jump at the start of the game, they suck as characters because they're written poorly, but they also look like shit too. Like, it's one of those things where it's that very JRPG, very anime aesthetic, right? You know who the main character is because they look different, they look better than everybody else. That's exactly what we got here.
Yeah.
But yeah, once again, I'm only 3 hours in. I'm a very strong stance for 3 hours in, but I have been playing other things, which we'll get to in a moment. I'm not hating it as much as I expected. I expected, because I remember saying, I'm going to play this because I think it's going to be poo. But as you said, once you start playing it, boy, does that tone change. The second there's no cutscenes, if I could play it on mute and just punch shit and do my cool magic and whatever, I would probably do that.
Yeah.
Let's jump in the chat though and see what some people have thrown in. MGB jumps in and goes, I got a code from Bandai Namco also, and I personally really like it. It's very cheesy with the plot and such, but I enjoyed the gameplay loop. Although the controls you do have to get used to it first. That is very true. I find that once the movement goes, it's very fluid. It's super easy to pivot, to turn and get where you want to be. But when you're just walking, it's got that real jerky kind of you want to walk up to the table to pick up the thing, and it kind of doesn't quite know where it wants to go. And that is kind of a downside. Anything you try to work with a game that's designed on speed and movement, you find it's very stilted when it's not movement. And also adds basically, quote, it's how do you do, fellow kids in video game writing form. That's the kind of the energy I think that's there. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, to a degree.
Yeah. So what's the to the degree part? What's the asterisk on that?
So there's a point in the game where Freya's character has a quite a massive shift.
And that's what I'm itching for.
And the dialogue picks up from there because she now has a reason. So, for the majority of the game, because she is this orphan character, because for most of her life it has always been her versus the world. No one's been there for her. No one's in it for her. She's always had that fuck everything mentality. And then there is a definitive point in the game where she no longer has that outlook. Because of
circumstances,
and she doesn't completely change as a person, but she changes enough that it's no longer fuck you, fuck this, fuck that. It's you're an idiot, fuck it, I'll help you, or you're this is fucked, but I will do this because I'm the hero, or this is
the right thing to do, or yeah,
it's the right thing to do. She gets over that it's me versus the world to her being, well, I'm part of this now, and I should care about what happens, which is good. Like
totally,
there is growth. Unfortunately, it fucking takes forever to get to that point.
The Mulcher adds Breaking Bad is a perfect example of power of silence. It is. It's. I think Vince Gilligan understands like building tension, and that helps. Solitaire adds to MGB. Yeah, it was a defo dude born in the 70s, riding 40 years out of their comfort zone. Yeah, it's because like it's even down to how she speaks, right? It's to me it reads as a stereotype of what you think's a Gen Z young person would speak. And even myself, as someone in their 30s, I don't know. Like, I'm very aware. Oh, as my camera poos itself, give me 1 second. Like, I'm very aware that, like, I'm not down with what's cool, young, and hip. Because who the fuck says cool, young, and hip? But I don't know that, like, I wouldn't have tried to write that character. And then MGB adds, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So the ad makes me question what's going on with Square. Like, I really hope their upcoming slate will be good, but this is not a good start for Square's 2023. It's not good for my draft, that's for sure. What's its average at the moment? Like 6, 7, which is fine. And that's the other thing as well. 7 is fine. 7 is a good game, and I would agree the game is good. Like 7 out of 10 isn't like this game is the shittest thing in the world. If it was a 3, it would be. Even a 5. A 5 means the game is fine. It's right down the middle. It's neither good nor bad. And I would argue this game is a 6 or a 7 because there are things about it that are bad, but there are things about it that are good. And 7 is good. But in terms of Square, that's a much bigger conversation. Like, where, what Square's plans are. We understand that, it looks like they're trying to sell off. They had tried to sell off a bunch of their things. Like, are they looking to be sold or picked up or something? We don't know. And Square haven't had a lot of success in any of the games, especially their live services, in connection with their new hard-on for NFTs. It's a dangerous time for that like publisher. But speaking of our fantasy draft, Max, so like I got Forspoken on my list, and it's not looking that great for me at the moment. It's not a good start to my draft. You, on the other hand, picked up Dead Space Remake on your list. Came in at your 4th round pick, and I've been playing it. Now, granted, once again, this is very first impressions because of my busy ass weekend. So big thank you to the team over at Electronic Arts, who we haven't spoken to in a while. I hit them up for the first time in a little while, and they are more than lovely and kind, and provided us a review code for Dead Space. Did you play Dead Space back in the day?
Never played a Dead Space game.
Me either.
I've been told to play the original before playing the remake.
Ah, okay. Well, I have not done that. So I haven't played the original Dead Space. Not for any reason, just never did. But playing this, fuck. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. It's fascinating. So for context, you're playing you're a space dude. You land on this space station. Comms are down. Shit looks fucked. What's going on? You need to investigate what's going on. Incoming space horror. Right? Having played the Callisto Protocol recently and going, well, this game sucks. And if this is a spiritual successor to Dead Space, that's concerning. No, Dead Space is fucking stacks better. Stacks better. Just an example is, so it's very similar in that, you know, the best way to take on these creatures, as one of the first things you see when you start exploring, is remove the limbs. Like, take off their limbs, slow them down, before they come to you. Callisto Protocol had a very similar thing. It's so much better here. Callisto tried to deliver what was the alleged same slow, heavy movement that is Dead Space. Dead Space Remake feels heavy, but doesn't play heavy. And that's a key difference. So even when you do get swarmed by monsters, like I haven't looked for like a quick turn or whatever, but it doesn't matter because you turn at it still feels like sluggish. It still feels like you're working this big, heavy mechanical suit as you turn around, but it's not like, and then you're fucking stabbed, which is what Callisto did. It plays so fun. The scares are really good. And what I find that it does as well, and I feel it's doing this intentionally, is it builds up your safety. Like at the beginning of the game, it comes in, shit's scary. You get your gun. Suddenly you can start taking out, they start coming at you one by one. Like, all right, cool. I know how to take these monsters down. Fine. Poof. Yeah, take out a leg. Boom. Take out the other leg. They crawl towards you. You stomp them. Right? Suddenly two come. Oh shit, well I can't. If I just take out their legs, then they'll still come crawling at me. They've still got their big fucking damage arms. It's not going to be enough. So I take out their arms, and then when you got two coming at you, you got to reconsider how that works. Cool, and then once you nail that, they go okay, and then some start coming from behind you. So you're having to rethink about it. So I'm playing with my Atmos setup as I've talked about before. The sound design, fantastic. So hearing them come up behind you, fucking horrifying. Just random ass noises happening as you're walking through this like breaking down on fire dilapidated space station. Awesome. Really get them scares up here because you'll hear like, and you're like, it builds that tension as as you have those moments of kind of quiet. But once you start building up that confidence, like, I know how to take these guys out. This is fine. This is great. And then the game finds a way to fuck with you a little bit. Hey, you have to turn all the lights off to you need to redistribute the power. Turn all the lights off. Oh, suddenly things get a bit gnarlier. Things get a bit more intense. It's fun. I'm really, really enjoying it. Because it's like once you're making your path to get whatever thing you got to do and you got to hike back, you does build that confidence. Like, yeah, cool. And then it throws a spanner to shift that momentum or shift that energy, and then suddenly that tension builds up again, which I think is one of the biggest problems with horror games is maintaining that level of fear or I guess using the word tension because I think that's probably the most accurate one, right? Because there are jump scares, but what you need is that constant sense of unsafety and that constant sense of unease. And when you're playing a horror game, and once you start getting more powerful guns, you get more power-ups, you things that what was scary before is no longer scary because you have a way around it. So by constantly switching it and altering it, so we go, oh, you feel safe, we've changed it, is huge. Visually the game is, as I mentioned before, absolutely stunning. Playing on the PS5, it looks awesome. The suit looks great. I'm playing with ray tracing because I want to see how fucking exceptional it look. And holy fuck. Now, I did bump it off the performance mode to the fidelity mode because it is a substantial downgrade. Like, very visually noticeable. So much so that, that Phoebe was like, that looks really bad. Flick it over, suddenly things get sharper. But like it's 60 to 30 or whatever it was. 30's fine. But like the 60 would be great, but like at the cost of the sharpness and of the lighting, like, nah, man, I'm happy to play it on the performance, on the fidelity mode here. Now, because part of the agreement, you're like, oh, hey, Ryan, you play Dead Space, I'll play Forspoken, and I kind of play a little bit of both. Do you have any questions about Dead Space? Are you going to check it out now that you have access to it too?
Oh, that's right. Yes, I do have access to it too.
Yeah, are you going to play it as well? Or are you going?
Yes, I'm. Now that I've finished with Forspoken, I will jump across and start playing Dead Space.
Yeah. Well, do you have any questions about my early impressions with it so far?
No, I think you covered it really well. I'm looking forward to playing it. I'm not great with like spooky dread crap, so we'll see how we go. Sci-fi is also super not my go-to genre. So depending on how much I enjoy the moment-to-moment gameplay, I don't know if it'll hold my attention for too long. But that's more of a me thing than an issue with the game itself.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how that goes for you, which would be great.
One of the biggest ones that I know of was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I'm not a Star Wars guy, but that game was enough of Dark Souls that it's like, yeah, I can play this.
Yeah. But yeah, man, so there is another game that I have been playing this week. I can't talk about it just yet. But look, it's not Harry Potter, all right? It's not Hogwarts yet. So don't get all excited. Fuck, I wish it was Hogwarts, And I did also get a review code for a game called what was it called? Startup Company. I saw it and I was like, oh, that looks fucking dumb. An email came through. Poop. I haven't played it yet, but it looks right up my alley. It's essentially one of those little like management games where you build your own little company and you sort of expand and grow, like kind of like Game Dev Story, which I'm also a big fan for. Game Dev Tycoons, so I'm itching to play that too. Just like that's like a good little mindless game where I can build some garbo company to be a very average company. But it's been really cool. Like in terms of. If you were asked us like 2 weeks ago, but it was like everything was really quiet. We're like, no, got no games coming, no codes. And we're like, hence why I could go back and play Uncharted. It's like, yeah, whatever. And now suddenly there's like 5 codes in that we have available to us right now. I'm like, damn. And then
is kicking the door down hard.
Yeah, and then if Hogwarts is on the way too, there's another one, and there's a couple other games coming out soon. It's like, man, shit suddenly picked up, and that's before the PSVR even lands. God damn. It's exciting times ahead. Speaking of, patreon.com/popcultures. Please help us do PSVR things. I say that, and I'm like, we're going to buy it anyway. I'm just being shameless and gross. Just e-begging like a piece of shit. Alright, let's get into the section we call Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation.
Speaking of shameless and gross, let's talk about HBO.
Yeah.
Hey. So as everyone knows, The Last of Us is a massive hit at the moment.
Episode 3 airs today of time of publishing. Get fucking ready. What an episode.
So we finally have digital data. And the news is pretty good for Sony.
Yeah.
HBO's hit show has had a colossal impact on sales for both The Last of Us Part 1 and The Last of Us Remastered, with sales increasing 305 to 337% week over week, respectively, in the UK alone. Which is huge.
Massive.
Also, in other HBO Last of Us related news, HBO announced this week that it has renewed its TV adaptation of The Last of Us for a second season. After an overwhelmingly positive reception from both critics and fans, which has seen it to become the most popular TV shows out at the moment, the company will now create another series of episodes, presumably focusing on The Last of Us Part 2, giving HBO the chance to bring new characters like Abby, Dinah, and Owen to life. Neil Druckmann has said, quote, "I'm humbled, honored, and frankly overwhelmed that so many people have tuned in and connected with our retelling of Joel and Ellie's journey. The collaboration with Craig Mazin, our incredible cast and crew, and HBO exceeded my already high expectations. Now that we have the absolute pleasure of being able to do it again with Season 2, on behalf of everyone at Naughty Dog and PlayStation, thank you." Also, for those who don't have access to HBO or Binge or anything like that, the first episode can be watched completely free on YouTube.
Awesome.
So man, check it out.
What you should also check out, by the way, is go check out the HBO's podcast for The Last of Us. It's hosted by Troy Baker with Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin. And holy shit, is it good! Like if you really like, wanting to have a listen to, how or why they made these tonal choices or writing choices, especially when it comes from adapting the game to the screen. Have a listen. It's great because you've got one of the co-creators of The Last of Us, plus the guy that played Joel in The Last of Us, plus the guy that helped bring it to TV. Like, so you're seeing it from like 3 different perspectives, and they each tackle it in a very different way. It's very, very good listen. We listened to episode 1 and 2 on the drive to Horsham, and oh man, so good, so good. But part 2, the not so controversial, everyone agrees on it, part 2. That is going to be some interesting television. Obviously neither you or I have finished season 1 yet. I'm about halfway. I think you're about the same.
We're the same. I think we've seen the same amount of episodes now.
So it's pretty much indicating that the season 1 does end at the end of the game.
They've said season 1 will encompass all of part 1, and I'm fairly sure I read that season 2 would be based on part 2, but they're concerned that part 2 was so big it wouldn't fit into one season of television.
Yeah, I feel like they might have to do more than 9 episodes, or even maybe do one like half season, say 6 episodes as part of the Abby side and 6 episodes part of the Ellie side potentially. It's probably the safest bet. Buddy Watson, it's so hard to listen to Troy Baker as Troy Baker. I love it, but I also hate it because Troy Baker has an exceptional voice, and it makes me go, "Why the fuck doesn't my voice sound like that, you pissed?" Also, hey Flashy, how you doing? It's very, very good. I'm glad the games are doing so well. Buddy also, people will lose their minds in part 2. They aren't ready, and it's totally true. And like, none of you have seen episode 3 yet. But I guarantee you the same folks that have issues with part 2 will have an issue with episode 3, and you'd be I wouldn't expect there to be a lot of unnecessary and inaccurate controversy around episode 3, exactly like part 2. But I almost said part 3 instead of episode 3 for the TV show. You know why that is, Max? Because Neil Druckmann. Because you wrote the news.
I wrote the news.
Yeah, the big part is because you wrote the news doc. But second point is because Neil Druckmann, speaking with BuzzFeed, has addressed the topic of the part 3, commenting that the studio may move on from The Last of Us if it can't work something out for part 3. Quote, "I know there's a bunch of people wondering about The Last of Us Part 3 and whether that will be a thing or not. All I can say is, at Naughty Dog, we're very, very privileged that our publisher is Sony. They have supported us every step of the way to follow our passions. Meaning that just because something is successful, people think that there's all this pressure and we have to make a sequel. That's not the case." End quote. He also explains that if Naughty Dog, quote, "can come up with a compelling story that has this universal message and statement about love," which is the through point of the series of Last of Us Part 1 and 2, and I talk a lot about that in our Last of Us episode reviews. Quote, end quote, and the team will make it happen. If not, quote, "we have a very strong ending with part 2 that will be the end," end quote. They also mentioned in the interview that they're pretty much done with Uncharted.
Yeah.
Like, as Naughty Dog, they're done with Uncharted. We may see Uncharted in different ways. They didn't say this, of course. But, like, we won't be seeing Naughty Dog do an Uncharted 5 or anything like that. Do you want to see a part 3 of The Last of Us?
Kind of do.
Actually, I do. I want to so bad. Like, I obviously won't talk about any major plot points of part 2, especially knowing there's a TV series and just general, respect. I believe it ends in such a way that it deserves a part 2. That deserves a part 3, even though a big part of what The Last of Us sets up is that there isn't always the ending that you want. So if they don't do a part 3, cool, because it also fits that greater story. But as Buddy in the chat says, it deserves a part 3. And I would most definitely agree. Very keen. But yeah, like just I don't see Abby being involved in the part 3, but continuing the story of Ellie would be nice.
Yeah,
very cool. You gonna do the next one?
I can.
What were you distracted by?
I technically did the first 2, so I thought you were going to do the next 2.
Oh,
that's cool.
Well, only because like this one gets you more excited than anything.
Yeah. Okay. So, DualSense, the Sony's official Pro controller hit the shelves this week, but it is being kind of dragged through the mud for its downscaled battery online.
Yep.
As reported by Buds Controllers on Twitter, the premium controller, which retails for $339 in Australia, has a literal smaller battery than the standard DualSense controller. Smaller batteries don't necessarily mean shorter battery life. It all depends on what kind of battery they are utilizing. However, reported by most of the published DualSense Edge reviews, it suggests that the controller doesn't last long when staying unplugged. It's getting roughly around 6 hours of life between charges. Yeah. Which is
gross.
It's rough. So it's the cost of two and a half DualSense controllers and it doesn't last very long at all.
No.
Which is a real shame. Now,
yeah, so
understandably,
like, for those that want extra controllability, like back buttons and stuff, you better not want to play games for long.
Now, I must admit, I'm in a fairly where I game. I have my controllers permanently plugged in.
Yeah, because you're sitting in front. You sit at your desk where you're sitting right now.
I sit at my desk where I'm sitting right now. So the controller stays plugged in, so it's not really an issue for me. But for people who play wireless, 6 hours is rough.
Yeah, so like where I sit is exactly my lounge room.
In saying that, I don't know many people who play for that prolonged period of time who would, like as a general consumer, 6 hours could be enough. So it depends.
But as Buddy Dad,
Buddy puts in the chat, there's a 3-meter braided cable in there. But
should you have to?
Well, one, should you have to, and two, like that's fine if you're playing in a room alone. But if there's anything else in the room that just fucking rips that out.
Yeah, you and I both have children. That ain't happening. Like, that child will pull that, or trip on it, or run over it on something, you know?
Yeah, someone who has a 30-meter LAN cable running through his house and his kid trips over it constantly, a 3-meter cable would just not be great.
Yeah. And, like, I'm granted, depending on what your setup is.
And the other thing is, if you're paying so much more for some extra accessibility options and the 2 back paddles, it really should have a better battery in it.
Yeah. When you're paying $400 for the controller, the minimum should be better battery. Because that's what you're like. It's one of those things like, what's one of the biggest updates every year on an iPhone? Better battery. How come this controller can't do that? Yeah. But yeah, and I guess like depending on your setup, like say, because I don't play here at my desk because I have a lounge room, so I like to be in my lounge room. And the 3-meter cable would work, but like I guess but I also have a power cable that runs under my couch that sits down there, so I can plug my phone charger or whatever in there. And I guess I could just plug the controller into that, I suppose. And I imagine most people have that sort of setup where they might have somewhere to plug their phone in while they're at the couch. So I guess you just swap the cables over, which is not bad. It's like a fair criticism, but also it's kind of like, yeah, it's very weirdly in the middle. Oh, and I've got the next bit of news, but something just fucking stabbed me in the eye hole. Can you please read what Buddy said in the chat
Yeah, so Buddy puts in the chat, I don't think you are the target market, though. Most of the Raijus and even third-party Xbox controllers are wired.
That's true.
Marketed for zero latency esports.
That is absolutely true, and I think that's probably one of the big differences as well. That's very true. Yeah, that's actually a very good point. All right, quick bits, which is where we throw a bunch of little bit of news bits together and have them together. 1, Sony adds trophies to the PS Classic No Heroes Allowed. Woo. Horizon Forbidden West multiplayer leak shows an old build with, quote, Fortnite-style characters. This list landed on Reddit. I did see a picture of it. It looks kind of charming, actually. Would I play it? Yeah, I would. Shameless. Witcher 3 PS5 to get a patch very soon. Any reason why it needs to be patched so hard?
I'm not sure. I know the PC version needs to be patched because it's broken.
Oh, brutal.
But it seemed fine on PlayStation 5 when I played it.
Yeah. The
I
PS5...
would imagine minor bug fixes and performance stuff.
Yeah, probably. The PlayStation app update allows you to match colors with your PS5.
If you dark mode on the app, it'll dark mode your PlayStation 5.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Like a color scheme match.
Yeah, well, there you because you can't really change themes or anything. So like that's if you could like, oh, you had a cool theme on your console, it would match on your phone, but it's not a thing on the PS5. GOW Ragnarok has been nominated for 5 awards at the Game Developers Conference. Damn right it should have. Atomic Heart has gone gold ahead of its Feb release date. That's the 21st. Get excited. Looks pretty cool. Social media mutterings have Sony focusing on a PS6 and not a mid-cycle Pro. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Good.
Yeah. We don't need a mid-gen refresh. Move to the next one. It's probably the safest bet. Yeah. Fucking hell.
I mean, what would they improve?
Yeah. Like, I think, yeah.
I think they're still doing that fucking
Mid-gen
disk drive edition thing. But I don't know if it needs a Pro version.
I would argue that, like, simply due to the hit of product shortages, like the production shortage, that there would be just wait.
Yeah.
You know, like the reason the PS Pro exists, the PS4 Pro existed, was simply because, like, the financial restrictions or whatever, they couldn't make the next gen consoles that they wanted. They had to extend the time of the PS4. And I don't think PS5 would be experiencing the same. And as per Nacon's earning report, Lord of the Rings Gollum will be releasing by September this year. I completely forget about this game every time.
It was supposed to come out September last year.
Oh, it totally was too.
Speaking about things that should be coming out, here are the upcoming titles for the next week. On 30th of January, we have Brick Firewall, PS5, PS4. 31st of January, we have Power Wash Sim, PS5, PS4. Raiden 4 X Mikado Remix, PS5, PS4. SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake, PS4. Season, PS5, PS4. Straylight, PS4. And We Were Here Forever, PS5, PS4. The 1st of February, we have Football Manager 2023, PS5, and Rhythm Sprout, PS5, PS4. 2nd of February, we have Braves Rage, Chef Life, a Restaurant Simulator, PS5, PS4. Puzzle Bobble 2X Buster Move 2 Arcade Edition and Puzzle Bobble 3 Buster Move 3 S Tribute on PS4. What a mouthful that was. Deliver Us Mars, PS5, PS4. Exit Man Deluxe, PS4. Fashion Police Squad, PS5, PS4. And lastly, on the 3rd of February, we have Helvetii on PS4 and Seed of Life coming to PlayStation 5.
Well, I don't know what Seed of Life is, but it sounds like a farming game. I'm in. And what popped me there was Chef's Life, a restaurant simulator. Like, being an incredible fan of Cook Serve Delicious, which I also got an email this week about Cook Serve Delicious Forever coming, which is like the next one in the game, is in the franchise. Woo! Give me some Chef Sims. But yeah, SpongeBob looks cool. Season looks cool, which is, we played the demo and talked about that previously. But yeah, it's very, 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 very exciting. Anything jump out at you, Max, this week, or are you just going to spend it with Dead Space?
I'm just going to spend it with Dead Space, by the look of it.
Yeah, it's probably a good call. Anyway, Deliver Us Mars. This looks pretty cool. That game, is that on any... Well, Atomic Heart is on my list of my fantasy games, my fantasy draft, and Metacritic drafts. That's pretty exciting. Deliver Us Mars was on our potential pick list, but neither of us jumped on it. It does look pretty sweet. I'd be keen to possibly check that one out too. Big thank you everyone for joining us this week for the show. Hope you all had a lovely good time. And as we say, time is the greatest gift that you can give someone because we have a finite amount of it. So thank you for choosing to spend some of that finite time with us. Max, send them home.
And you can spend time with us every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. But if you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, come and check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/swapcultures, where you can watch us record this show live, or you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. I endeavour to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/swapcultures, as well as our merchandise store, shop. We can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Schipper.
And that was For the Players.